Hey, what's up? It's your BibaGirrrl again. I've started filming today on Thursday. I'm going to post the video tomorrow on Friday this week. I have a full book of things going on tomorrow, so I'm not going to have time to film. So I'm filming Thursday this week. It's April 21st. And I have, but I'm going to do some makeup, and I'm going to talk about Real Housewives and Little WomenLA, as well as do an update of my husband's acting. And there's a lot going on there, so that's really exciting. So I'm just going to get to it. I'm gonna be kind of alternating. If you've never seen a video of mine before, I kind of alternate between talking gossip about TV and pop culture and movies and that type of thing, and then talking about makeup and fashion and fit my interests and inspirations. So if you like my videos, hit the thumbs up on YouTube or like it we're on my Facebook page where I post it, and share it with your friends wherever you share videos, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Share the link. Tell your friends about me if you enjoy me and enjoy what I'm doing. I'm not perfect. I'm here doing my thing and having fun and talking about a lot of things. Some videos, like the last one, I was very emotional, and sometimes and I get very weepy sometimes talking about some serious stuff that comes up on TV shows, and other times I'm just silly and I'm goofing off and hoping that at this one I'm going to touch on some serious subjects, but I'm going to try even with makeup and trying there are a lot of other positive things going on that and it's not going to be as serious as the last one, but things do come up, so I'm trying to keep it real. And so if you like my stuff, please tell your friends. And also hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Don't forget about that. So now that the business stuff is out of the way, I'm going to tell you, I've already, just to save time, because I've already done several videos where I did completely start to finish from bare face. But I'm going to mainly do, but today I've already done my skincare routine, primed, concealed, done a light contouring with the powders that I talked about, I think two or three videos ago. You can go back on my YouTube and go back each one. I've talked, and some of these products I'm going to use again today that I mentioned that I do on the eyes and the cheeks and lips, but some I'm not. I haven't talked about, but I use a lot of the same basic things. And the video before last, from 2 weeks ago, I used some new things, and I'm actually still using some things that are fairly new. One of which is the NYX Mineral Tint Foundation in the stick, in the medium beige. And I've done that, as well as the powder, the deeper, it's like a caramel powder as a contour. And so today I'm actually going to kind of do a face that has kind of what I would call a soft look, but I would say soft but not boring. And I had received this. And I have a lot of neutrals, and I'm like, in my mind, how can they repackage neutrals? How can they make neutrals be exciting? And I like Benefit's line, and sometimes when people talk about Benefit, I'm thinking they're talking about their benefits on their job. And I'm like, wait, are you talking about Benefit? Are you talking about, what kind of benefits are you talking about? And then they're actually talking about the makeup line, Benefit. Okay, so I think when they started this makeup company, they didn't realize how many people were actually talking about the for real benefits and not these benefits. But anyway, there are good benefits in here too. And a lot of times their lines they come out with when you get them, they're in these cute little books. The Pore product, the Pore Professional product that I used a few weeks back, that came in a box like this. It almost reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if they were around when some of you all were growing up, but they were around when I was growing up at Christmas time. They had these things that Lifesavers came in. You had all the different flavors of Lifesavers, and they came in a little book, and it was a cute little stocking stuff for Christmas gift. So the Pore Kit comes in like this, in this similar kind of But at least with the Pore Kit, you can take things out. With this world famous and some of the other ones, they have one that's kind of got smoky eyes and different things. It's all in the actual kit. Now I have taken out the 2 jars that come in here. Why? Because also one thing is they have these cute little instruction books that come with it, which is very helpful and give you diagrams and the whole 9 yards, and as well as a little mirror. So that's always helpful. But 2 things. I usually, for the longest time, I resisted palettes. In fact, if people gave me a palette, I would take them back to the store. I would say, I don't want this palette, unless I could fit it in my purse, and I even carry a big purse, but to me, this is too big to lug around and put in a purse. But I'd like to be able to put things in my purse for touch-ups. So, unless I have a smaller palette that I can put in my purse to touch up what the big palette at home can do, often, in fact, I've even had, old boyfriends or ex-husbands or different people who were like, I don't want to say ex-husband, it was only one ex-husband, but it makes it sound like there were 100 people. But anyway, if somebody gave me a gift, I would end up going to say somebody gave me like a big Estee Lauder or a big Elizabeth Arden or some big kit for Christmas or something. I would end up, and this was before I was going on site to do makeup shoots. If I was doing makeup, I was using the makeup lines that they had at the salons that I worked at. But and at home, I was like, if I can't throw my purse, it's just going to sit on the shelf. I might use it once or twice, and it's just going to be in a drawer. And I'm not one of those sit in a drawer kind of a person. I use and wear everything, and so I want to be able to be portable. So anyway, a lot of times I would take things back, and people would be pissed that I was taking things back and annoyed, but whatever. And I would take it back, and I would get other things. And so, but as life has gone on, and now I go on site, and also I'm not always traveling. I'm not going to work every day. I'm freelancing, so I can do my makeup at home and from a palette and use the palette and then go and see clients, and I'm not like, and then I might be home in 2 hours, and I'm not going to be working for 10 hours straight where I'm going to be in a setting or I'm going to be out all day long where I constantly need to touch up. So I can touch up, or I'm gonna might be going and seeing somebody and meeting with someone, or meeting with somebody in a different capacity in one of my other types of jobs for organizing or other things, and I might be home in an hour and a half. So I don't necessarily need that portability. So that's why I'm now, in the past few years, I'd say the last probably 5, 6, 7 years, I've gotten more open to just using palettes in general, or even these types of kits. So when it came up, and I think it was a sale deal, it was a special deal, it was either Ulta or Sephora, because I order from both online, and they were doing something where you had like I think I had points earned or something, and I was able to get it. So I was able to get the Pore Kit and this neutral kit with some special deal or money offer, and then get other things. So that's why I got it, because in my mind I'm like, how can you make neutrals exciting? Well, they did. So, and I'm going to show you, and also what I'm going to do is show you how a lot of times people are buying these specialty highlighting kits and specialty contour kits. Well, as I've stated in past videos, those you can contour using you can experiment with contouring using brown powders from various shades darker than your own skin tone. So let's say with me, if I contour, I use, and as long as it's matte, not bronze, but you can use a bronze because some people like a little bit of shimmer in that. But I would say for basic contouring, I'm using this caramel contour. But for highlighting, there are shimmer shadows in every eyeshadow kit. You don't have to buy a special highlighter kit just to do highlighting, and you can use it anywhere in your face. So that's, to me, is something that people are like, that the marketers of makeup companies are really like having people jump on the bandwagon of the popularity of shading, contouring, highlighting, all strobing. There's a some shimmer shadows in here and some really pretty shimmers that I'm going to use as blush, as highlighter, as shadow. So that's a way that, and no matter what kind of kit you have, every kit has light shades, dark shades. Some kits have more matte shadows as opposed to shimmer. Some palettes have all shimmers. You'll know from playing with it and seeing how things are. What you are able to do, but don't let their rules hold you back. You can actually have some fun and experiment with the golds and the peaches and the shimmery whites and even this brown shimmer. So you can do some really cool things with it. So I'm going to use these and do a fun look with it. And so a lot of times I've been criticized for being too bold and being too dramatic, and I like those looks, but often I end up for commercial times for clients. Many people call me specifically. They call a makeup artist to do their makeup because they're not that good with it, or they're doing it, or maybe they're good with it, but they just want a special look for an event. So, but more often I've had, for whatever reason, proms and things, especially now that people are very money conscious, if they can do it well themselves, or if they have a girlfriend to do it, or someone in their family is good with it, often they will have to save the money and have those people who could do it for free, and then when they pay, they really pay. They're paying because they want the knowledge of a professional, and if they want the knowledge of a professional, and they're not comfortable with getting their makeup done, it's usually because it's somebody who doesn't do makeup all the time. So I end up doing more the softer, neutral shades on those clients, just because it's softer, it's natural, it gives a nice, pretty look. It's less controversial. They can still look in the mirror and they look like themselves, and they don't have to feel like, oh my god, I've got so much makeup on, I'm gonna go wash my face, oh, what did I do? And they end up having, instead of that nightmare, they end up having a really good makeup experience, paying to have their makeup done. They might be more likely to try some other things, less afraid, and that's how I ease people into it. And that's the kind of makeup artist I am. So, but I still have other clients who they were like, come on, put on, give me smoky aside, give me bold, I want to look like a drag queen, whatever. I have those people too. But I'm saying, so in my past videos, I've had people say I'm doing too bold, or even just friends who say, you always look like there's so much. So I'm gonna do a soft look. But like I said, but yeah, I'm still me. It's not going to be boring. So now so now that that's been said, and I'm going to. Now, one thing you should know is with this kit has these two glass jars, and they are not the easiest unless you're just going to take them out and break it. I was trying to preserve these little things, and wouldn't you know it, the very first day I got this kit, I'm trying to take one of these little jars out. The thing falls on the floor, and the lid, thank God, the jar did not shatter in half and spill eyeshadow all over. We just moved in this apartment, and the bathroom's flawless. But the lid cracked. So Benefit kind of has to get their act a little bit together, because it was in so tight that I could barely get that jar out. And so I already took the jars out just for me to be able to use. So it's a little bit of a pain to be able to have them over here and not over there. But I mean, maybe I'll put them on here. but whatever. That's a tip for you at home to use, because in my mind, it's another thing that affects the portability factor. If you can't get things in and out easier, or now I know for a fact, because these are creamy, things that are creamy is just like for your, they preserve better, just like for your hair. Like if you buy the really, really good, like Moroccan oil or some of the other big high-end brands of hair oil, they will be in a glass jar. Because why? Because things that are an oil base keep better in the glass than plastic. So the cheaper lines of creamy shadows, as well as the cheaper lines of, like, say, hair oil, Moroccan oil, face oil, all these oils. Everybody's jumping on that bandwagon. Now, this might even be hard plastic, but it definitely keeps better than if it was in, like, say, a plastic jar, like kind of like a travel kit kind of plastic. But whatever it is, that's why. But once again, portability factor. What if you drop your makeup bag on the floor, whatever. So anyway, that's some tips right there. So that being said, I'm going to get to my eyes and talk about first. Oh, well, actually, I think I'll talk about my husband's stuff first, and then get that out of the way, and then get into the Real Housewives and Little Women LA and get that going. So my husband Patrick is an actor part-time. He's got some new projects coming up. If you go back in my YouTube channel way back to a couple years ago, I talked about him being in the short film that was part of the DC Short Film Festival. That was great. It was called Sloan. You're not able to find it on YouTube. You're only able to find the preview on YouTube. But they had a great opening night and great premiere, and that was a big deal for him. And then he's been doing some various web series. One is called Dirt Old Superstition. They've just now put up episode 3, so if you want to watch 1, 2, and 3, it's a full season web series. He's playing very against his normal character. He's playing this real jock that's trying to date this girl and trying to be a role player and all this. And it's, for those of us who know my husband and know how he is in real life, even when he and I were dating, it's the exact opposite of his character and whatever. But everyone who sees it says, "Wow, he's such a good actor," because he's really playing this role really well. So check out Dirt Old Superstition on YouTube. And I think they're going to start working on episode 4, 5, and 6 and releasing that. But you can watch 1 through 3 now. Then, last year, or actually they filmed it a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, 2 years through a year and a half ago, he was in Dark Awakenings. And it's on YouTube, and it's about 45 minutes long. His part does not come on towards... I'd say towards the last 45 minutes of it. It's a Star Wars themed, a Star Wars tribute film, and that's an independent kind of like fan fiction made into a movie. So that was filmed here in the DC area. And it was so big, and I was shout out to anyone who's involved in Dark Awakening, because they really did a lot in terms of PR and promotion. We got into 2 cons last year, and it was really awesome. And it was a part of 2 Q&As, and where they showed it in part of the film fest with the cons. One of which was the big con in Philly, and the other one was was Awesome Con, and the big con that was in Philly, and it's slipping my mind the name of that con, but that was awesome. I mean, we got to go through the press line, and me as a blogger, it was like I blogged and posted pictures. Each cast member got their own version of their own T-shirt, so that was really exciting. It was really fun. So there's that. So now what they're doing is he's going to start filming the Dark Awakening 2 in June. So then that will come out in the probably next year, so it'll be 2017 con season. So right now I'm going to work on this Kiss Me, I'm Tipsy, the darker shadow, and I'm going to do dab that. So this is the angle brush that I've talked about in other videos. This is the newer one of those new kits that I got from Ulta. So I'm actually going to lightly dab, and I love the angle brushes on my eyes, just because it just seems like it just fits your eye, and you're able to get into the crease really well, and just really get in there, and you can actually see how soft this goes on as compared to the color that's here. And you look at this, you think it might end up looking like almost jet black on your face, but it's a very soft color transfer. So, and it has a goldish shimmer. So I'm just lightly putting that on, and I always kind of lean into the crease when I do it, just so that way it also kind of lifts up the eyelid. And I don't just do it at the crease, I always kind of do a little bit up and away. So I'm doing that. I get the other eye. So those are some really exciting things with the web series. So if you want to check out his web series, the web series he's in, A Dirt Old Superstition, watch Dark Awakenings, and he's, like I said, he's going to film Dark Awakenings, start filming Dark Awakenings 2 pretty soon. And now another thing was, he was just recently a part of a PBS documentary that was filmed. He was an extra in that. It was loosely based on a book called The Priest and the Sultan, about the Crusades, and that was filmed in, it's I guess a DC-based crew, but it was filmed in Baltimore. And they did some really cool stuff, and and since he loves historical things, he really enjoyed it, and they did stuff with weapons and fighting and a whole bunch of different things, and costumes and helmets and the whole thing. So if you're into that, keep your eyes open. That'll probably be done. They have other scenes to film, and I don't know if he was just a one-day extra for that, but keep your eyes and ears open for that kind of thing if you're into it. And he might have got a few close-ups. We're always hoping for a few close-ups and some of those things. So I'm still working this. It's called Kiss Me, I'm Tipsy. Don't you love the names of these things? So that sounds like the story of my life right there. Kiss Me, I'm Tipsy. So then, okay, so I've done that. And then I'm going to take this little fluffier brush of the same kits that we're talking about before. And this is, I'm going to use the Peach that's called It's Complicated. We'll see if I can get the light. There we go. Peach, It's Complicated. And it usually is. So I'm going to go over and soften the edges of It's Complicated with soften the edges of the Kiss Me, I'm Tipsy with It's Complicated. So it sounds like what I'm going to be talking about right here with these with the Real Housewives in New York and the Little Women LA. So I'm going to go over this, and then that's not looking too bad. So then I'm going to do I get my lighter. This is kind of like a light, kind of like a contour brush. But I like to use it for my lighter shadows, and this is called Call My Bluff, and this is that light one that I was talking about. It has a little bit of shimmer to it, and I'm actually going to use these two for when I do the blush. So, but I'm going to do it here underneath the brow bone, and to blend those two together. So it kind of adds to the softness, and I'm also going to do it a little bit in this crease here. This here crease! But in this little eye crease, just to bring out a little bit more of a highlight. And going this way. So, Real Housewives in New York. I just watched it last night. I'm fresh. I woke up. It was the first thing I thought of. Was like, oh my god. Dorinda, we've all been there. Let me tell you, there are times when you go through terrible things as a human. I know this has happened to men too, but for some reason lately I've seen it only on TV on reality shows regarding women. But sometimes you go through something, whether it's the death of a spouse or something happened in your family or some sort of tragedy, and you're vulnerable. And you meet someone, and he might not be the right person for you in the long run. He might not be the right person for you even right now. But for whatever reason, that person is there. And for Dorinda, John is that person who's there. Well, if you watch Real Housewives of New York, John can be extremely obnoxious. He can be abrasive. He's boorish. There's a word for you. Look that up. Very boorish. But for whatever reason, he fulfills something in her right now. And there's something that maybe he's an escape. He's a good time. Maybe he's a lot of fun. They have some laughs. Maybe, and she says he's been there for her during different times or whatever. And but all of her friends have been able to say, hey, John isn't the best guy. Now, last year, it seemed people were more tolerant of John because it was like John and Dorinda, and she was new, and it was kind of like a package. But this year, I can see they just went in. I mean, this is what, episode 2? No, this is episode 3. They just went in. No, there's no waiting around, sitting, watching them shop to get to episode 8 when everything goes down. They just, they weren't pulling any punches. It was a bra party, and it was one thing for Bethany to be saying, John's, some criticism of John at this bra party, and then Ramona, this is what really hurt Dorinda, was Ramona, her friend of 20 years, instead of telling her this in private, she said some stuff that John had said, apparently outside, when he was smoking a cigarette, bragging that he took Viagra, and there's stuff about their sex life and this whole thing. It was really nasty. But there are other people at this bra party. And there's the women who are selling the bras. And it's Dorinda's party. And, it seemed like everybody had just arrived. Maybe there was some editing done where maybe people had been drinking ahead of time or something. I don't know, but I'm thinking everybody just gets there and then boom, they just go on in. So they hadn't even tried on bras yet or anything. So, okay, so now for the liner I'm going to do, this is one of the pots that came in this kit, and it's called My 2 Cents. So, and I'm using the smaller brush that also came in that same Ulta travel brush kit that I talked about 2 videos ago. So, I'm doing that, and I am going underneath. So, poor Dorinda, just when you thought it was all over, they go downstairs or go to the other section where the food is, and they're taking, sort of calming down, and even like Ramona feels bad because Dorinda got so upset, and then she's even asking Bethany's advice on, how do I apologize? What should I do? All this. So. And then she even did a quick apology, and then you think everybody's calmed down, and then some people they kind of just leave. And then Dorinda and I think the new woman Jules is there, and I don't know how I feel about her. She's kind of, there's some stuff about her, but that's a whole other thing. Some shady stuff she said, and but anyway, she was there, and then Bethany was still there. And Dorinda was there, and so all of a sudden John comes in. Now somehow somebody had ratted out, I don't know who, somebody sent him a text, somebody called him, I don't know who it was, but he can't, first she calls him, he gets a call, she sees that he's on the phone, he's saying, who's saying stuff about me, and and next thing you know, he comes up and he's like shot out of a cannon, totally like ready to, like, if the cameras hadn't been there, it's almost like it was scary. Like, you didn't know if he was going to get physical or what. And so I'm doing this, my 2 cents. Well, I'm putting in my 2 cents while I'm using my 2 cents. So anyway, So he really comes in, and it was like a scary confrontation. He starts being all sarcastic with Bethany and saying, just beating her, and then saying nasty stuff about how there was a copyright infringement between the Skinny Cow Company and Skinny Girl and this, and just saying all this stuff. And then she's like, don't even talk. You can come for me for my personal life. You can come for me for this, but don't come for me about my business and this. And oh my God, it was insane. And he just wouldn't let go. He was just and Eve Dorinda was she was mad at the both of them. She's trying to kick him out and trying to get him to stop, and then Bethany was yelling, and it was this whole thing. And but I have been there. I mean, people are saying to me, why do you watch reality shows? I'm like, I have lived these types of scenes. People don't realize that sometimes these things can happen to the best people in the best situations. Sometimes, and especially if people had a few drinks or whatever they're doing. And Bethany was alluding that maybe he was doing some coke or something. I just don't know. But anyway, so you can see it's a softer. Meanwhile, getting back to the makeup, it's a softer eye. So it's a little bit liner, but much softer kind of a look. So anyway, so all that stuff happened, and then later they showed that the three women got together and they were apologizing to Dorinda and how they handled it, and were discussing John's situation, Dorinda's relationship with John, and that. But the fact that they were all, that just goes to show women of a certain age, once the anger and emotion kind of dies down a little bit, we are able to discuss it a little bit better and handle it a little bit better than when I know I'm able to handle with things much better than when I was 21, 25, even 28, even 30. And so there's that. And they did show that, but I think Dorinda is still like reeling from that painful situation of feeling like everybody was laying into her. So my next thing is I purposely didn't do brows because and I've talked about this before. This is the same Christian Siriano matte very pigmented shadow that I have talked about many times before in other videos, and it's so good. I'm going to use it on my brows as well as a liner on my lids. So that's going to kind of tie it together, and then do a little bit more of a striking look. So I'm now, lately I just learned this really cool trick. Instead of drawing boom, 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 a really thick solid line, I have been doing just a light line, and then taking the makeup, the eyebrow brush, and then brushing it up, and then blending it into my own hair, and that gives an eyebrow look, but at the same time it's not quite as heavy as doing the whole thing. Now, of course, it just depends on what you want to do. So I'm just going to do that. And so it was a really good episode. I'm so glad that younger people are seeing these kinds of relationships on TV. Many people are like, I don't want to see that, I don't want to see that. But you know what though? For people like me, who I grew up at a time when we didn't have reality TV, and when you might hear about somebody's boyfriend being a little inappropriate or whatever, but you don't really, unless you really see it, or even you might go through it yourself, and you kind of don't see the stages. She's not ready to break it off with him. For whatever reason, it may take another year or a year and a half, or where she's still making excuses for him, or whatever. There's just one little thing right there. There's a part of my eyebrow that is very temperamental in how it grabs the powder. So I always have to take a few times of cleaning it up, because my eyebrows don't grow in correctly exactly. So I try to clean it. There we go. That's better. So it may take her some time. It may take her some time before she's really able to see. And of course, Bethany was like, "Oh, she's gonna break up. She's so mad. It's over." And so, not everybody's as strong as others. Some people, it's not a sign of weakness. It just sometimes they're not ready. They got other things going on, and they need whatever that person, whatever positive thing, and it might not be that obvious to others, but like, say someone has a learning disability, and that person, even though that seems kind of abrasive, abusive, especially if they're drinking or whatever, when they're say that person gives them a ride, or say that person is able to help them study, say that person is maybe a jerk to their friends but is able to help them study. Now, I'm not making excuses for bad abusive relationships, but sometimes from my own personal experience, the first time someone has shown me that they were a jerk, I didn't leave right away. Why? Because there was say, that might have been an orange flag to me and not a red flag, because of all the positive things, there were other positive things they're bringing to my life. It took a long time before the negative outweighed the positive, and to the extent where I'm like, okay, I'm not putting up with this. I'm getting out of here, or I'm breaking it off. So, to the friends, it might seem like that person's bad all the time, but it may take much longer for the person who's in it and who's emotionally vested to be able to say, okay, I've had enough, and it's over. And sometimes you're that way with friendships too. And sometimes sometimes you can be in that situation with a friendship where the friend says, "Oh, I don't think he's a good guy," and that and you can end a really good friendship because that friend sees something that you don't see, and you're not ready to hear it or not able to face it. Then later on you might break up with that guy and get back together with that friend, or you might say, hey, she was not as patient. She didn't hang in with the good friends are the ones who are there and sort of hang in and kind of help you talk things through the whole thing, that are there for you during those times to then help you get strong so that you can break it off, that you have the strength to break it off when you're able to leave. But it doesn't happen overnight, unless it's a certain type of person who's so strong they can just shut the door to that relationship right away. So that's my take on it. So, but it was literally like flashing back to me when I was in my 20s, and part of the reason why I'm not I'm not a country music fan in general, but I'm definitely not a Blake Shelton fan, and it's nothing on Blake Shelton, but the guy I dated, who was sort of like, I would say personality-wise, he was pretty much like, imagine Jorinda's boyfriend John in Blake Shelton's body. Okay, that's all I can say. So, and really, that's not even my type of guy anyway. I never went for that kind of country look. I was actually trying to break free from my old patterns of other guys who look differently, and I was like, okay, I'll give this guy a chance, this type of guy a chance. It can't be, it can't be worse than these other people. So, but then that turned out being that way, and he learned from his behavior and his mistakes, and I learned from and that's the one thing, when you break out of a bad relationship, you also have to take responsibility. You can't just say, oh, he did this, and he did this. You can't, it takes two to tango, and you have to take responsibility for the time that you were there, and you also have to take responsibility for the situations that, for the things that you might have agreed to do for and with that other person who was you're in a codependent situation, or the things you agreed to do for and with that man, or that person, that man or woman, whatever it was. Now, I've seen guys get in that situation, like sometimes it's their first girlfriend, and the first girlfriend like bosses them around and just totally manipulates and verbally. I've seen that happen with men, and I've also seen it after they get out of a bad divorce or a death of a spouse or whatever, and then the next relationship they might end up being with a woman who's very controlling, and that. So or the same thing with gay, lesbian. You can see it sometimes. I've seen it with two gay men, old or younger. I've seen it vice or younger, older. I've seen it with two women. It does not matter, sexuality, gender, whatever. trans, whatever. If you're in something, sometimes you can get caught up in something, and people have their reasons. And so one thing is the best thing that I saw on that show was that they still, now maybe because they've signed on to do the show, but they also genuinely care, and they were showing Dorinda that they were still going to be there for her, which was a good thing, because sometimes people will say, I don't want to see him treating you badly, or I don't want to do this, and they pull away, or they either don't say it, they'll just pull away, they'll stop calling, or they'll stop messaging you on Facebook, or they'll stop checking in, or they stop following you, or they, for whatever reason, they pull away in such a way that all of a sudden it's like they disappear, they ghost, and those are like ghost friendships, and so that has happened to me, and then all of a sudden those ghost friendships, they weren't the ones that had your back, and so then they aren't the ones that later on, when you break up, finally get the strength in that garbage. They aren't the ones that can still maintain a real friendship with, because they and sometimes you just just you can't be there to see it. Sometimes it's hard on that friend too. So anyway, those are some things. So now I'm going to actually, I got this cute little kit. This is a Sephora kit. I really like this kit a lot. This may have been another thing I got with some points. It's a little travel kit. It's almost like kind of like a tampon holder or a lipstick holder, but it's perfect for travel, and you put it in your little kit. But this has some cute little brushes. And they're all in fun colors. I call them BibaGirrrl colors. The bright blue, pink, and this is they're all like they're like nice little brushes. But this one also is like the mini version of the angle brush I use. So I am going to use this with that darker shadow, and I'm going to use this as, in place of doing a heavy liner line, I am going to do this along the line, just giving it a little bit of depth, but at the same time it's a neutral brown. It goes well with the browns I've already used, and I'm just doing a soft little line and then kind of just feathering it into the brown I've done. So it's not necessarily a strong cat eye, but it's almost like a subtle smoky cat eye. How's that? Okay, so doing a little bit of that, doing a little more on the corner, doing my usual V, and then just taking the bigger, where's my, there it is, okay, good, whatever. And I'm taking my bigger one, and just kind of blending that in, and then I'm going to do it a little bit underneath too. So it brings me to Little WomenLA. They had the same type of deal. They've been dealing with this Matt Brianna situation, and there was rumors to what Matt was doing, or maybe somebody had some things where Matt was texting other girls and all this, and then they had the whole thing that they got married secretly, and the friends didn't like him, and they got married secretly, and then they just had, they always do this on weddings, on reality shows with weddings. If some couple had gotten married even 4 or 5 years ago, they'll either have a vow renewal, or they'll have it say, oh, well, we didn't get a chance to have a real big, just to have a chance to have a wedding on TV. So they just had they called it the ride or die wedding, because they kept saying, oh, you're going to be with me, ride or die, Bonnie Clyde. I'm like, you know what? That's a really cool concept, but has anybody seen that movie? Like, I mean, of course, yes, okay. My idea of ride or die, or being with someone through thick and thin, is not robbing banks together, killing people, and then running out into bullets and dying together. Okay, when did that concept become glamorous or interesting? Okay, but anyway, so. But apparently, just like Thelma and Louise, or the whole bit, the real world is you have to go to the grocery store the next day, okay? Or you have to walk your dog, or you have to take your cat to the vet. 5 years later, you're taking your cat to the vet, you're in Costco. That's ride or die, okay? Ride or die is, will you stand in line with me in Costco when some baby's crying, and you got 500 people in line, and you've got a cashier that can't figure it out, and they've got to call management, and you're stuck waiting for 15 minutes. Can that man handle it? Okay, that's real. That's the real life, not ride or die. Okay, so anyway, that's my take on ride or die. And how many men could stand in line when babies are crying, or whatever? Oh no, honey, I'll read in the car. I finally worked out with my husband. He got so tired of dealing with grocery stores and meeting with coupons and this and that, and the patience it takes to get good deals at this, and even just going through it. Because he was used to getting like 5 pizzas for the week, some stuff to drink, and then getting out of the store and go. And I'm like, no, for real life, for real food management, life management, it's more than just grabbing 5 pizzas for the week and then Wednesday going back. No, so, it's like, oh, it's too much distractions. Fine, he takes his Kindle, his phone, his tablet, whatever. He either sits down in the waiting area or sits in the car. Helps me with the groceries and get back, it helps to carry the stuff out. So, there's ways to management, but real life is not ride or die, unless you're planning on being a criminal, and only people who think in terms of criminal behavior are thinking that. Or think of that as like glamorous and cool. So I think part of the thing is that we have to get out of that, or stop glamorizing that, or else we're going to be thinking in terms of, oh well, so if any criminal thing that comes out about me, or anything that comes out, or anything that I'm doing, you're still going to have my back. Well, what ends up happening is when you find out that the person has done some bad behavior, you don't want to have their back. You want to get away from them. So, which is the case with Brianna and on Little Women LA. You see how I did that? So now I'm still taking this shadow here. So with Little Women LA, apparently, within a few weeks, months after the wedding of this thing, and then she finds out she's pregnant, and this whole 9 yards. Gee, we find out Matt is still texting people and sending other girls, writing other girls, and getting on Tinder and all this stuff. And gee, everything that her friends had warned her about, but that she didn't want to see. It's come to fruition. And so anyway, so there's all that, and this is a perfect example of how stuff can happen that people don't see. So it's good to pay attention to red flags. Sometimes we don't pay attention to the orange flags. Sometimes it might be a red orange, and we think, oh, marriage will help, or having a baby will help, or moving into a house will help, or moving this will help, but I just messed that up. Let me just fix that. I just hit that part of my eye and I didn't want it. So anyway, there's that. And I'm just going over this a little bit more with a darker shadow. So it looks soft, and it is a smoky look. I'm just going to go over it. I got these makeup sponges that, remember, I told you about a couple videos ago. I talked about, I got the round ones and then I cut them in half, so then it multiplied the amount of sponges I had times 2, and then plus I also have the sharp angle that the triangle ones have. So sometimes you go to the beauty supply and they don't have the triangle ones in, and I like the ones that have a sharp edge on the sponges. I don't mean sharp to the touch. I'm talking about the sharp, the line, and if they're round, they might not have that line. So with the triangle ones, you can really get in and get with the point and the hole and clean it up. Well, the round ones you can't. And sometimes the beauty supply, sometimes I might go to 2 or 3 different places, whether it's CVS and Sally Beauty and this, they might only have the round ones in and not have the triangles. So if they only have the round ones in, take a pair of scissors and cut the round ones in half, and then you end up with some good rounds. So you still have the round that you can do for other things, but then you have the edge. So anyway, so there's that with the Little Women LA. So there really was an example of how the boyfriend, or now husband of Brianna, ended up being proven, instead of keeping himself clean and saying, oh, I'm going to prove all your friends wrong, that I am a good guy, and stepping up, which can happen, where, sometimes, like I was very lucky with my current husband, I had some friends who had some things. He had some, I would say, some kind of red orange flags, or even kind of yellow orange flags, and there were things where they were like, "Are you sure you want to get involved this soon after your divorce? Are you sure about this? Are you sure about that? What about this? What about whatever?" And I was sure. I was like, "This is it. I can handle it. I'm in love. I can handle it." And they're like, "What about this? What about that?" And all this. And luckily, every time I had a question, he stepped up and we've known each other 9 years. This next week, in 2 weeks will be our 9-year first date of our first date, and next October will be 7 years together. So we proved. There were a lot of people who didn't think the relationship was going to work because there was an age difference and different things, but we proved those people wrong, and then I still have some friends who they were just sort of against just they I think they just really liked it when her friends are the friends that I was talking about last time. When you're friends, sometimes they just like it when you're single and not in a relationship, and you devote more time to them, and they were kind of jealous at the time. So that friendship I just totally had to end. So and it's just as well, because the people who are with me are now good supportive people who are like, wow, I really respect him now. He really stepped up. So sometimes a person can step up if it's worth putting the time in. But this guy Matt on Little WomenLA, instead of keeping things clean and doing making sure everything he was doing, he kept messing, and he's either got a sexual addiction, or he's just a real just a bad guy to be around, especially for Brianna, and there's a history of violence, a whole bit. It's just you see the poor thing, it just heart goes out to her, and of course there's always time from when they film to the show actually is aired. So I just hope that she gets it together. So I'm now using back to this peach, this kind of like peachy gold. It's complicated, and I'm using that as my. I'm trying to see if I can get the lighting better. As my blush, because I already have a contour there that I told you about I did before. And it's just a pretty little warm. And then I'm actually going to go over this again with a little, just to tie it in. I'll step back a little bit so you don't have to see the glare. And what it does is, there's a shimmer in the shadow. And the shimmer in that is a really pretty light, soft, shimmery blush. So because of that, it's exactly like the types of blushes that people are selling, as well as the types of highlighters that are in those highlight kits that people are spending 30 and 40 and 50 and however much. So you've got shadow. You've got, the only thing I used that was different was this thing, a dark matte shadow, which I use on my eyebrows, is here. But you have a dark shadow. I used the 2 cents. My 2 cents is a underliner, as well as the darker shadow as underline. And now the lighter thing I'm going to use is with my it's like this. I'm going to use the same brush, bigger brush kit. It's called Call My Bluff, and I'm going to put that here because that has a light shimmer. And see how pretty? And just kind of tie it in together. Because I really like that look. So there's that. And I'm going to do some mascara. And this is the same L'Oreal Voluminous Curve Brush. So I'm doing high and low here. High end and low end. And doing my lash wiggle. Do my lash wiggle underneath. Already did it there. So there's that. Just make sure it is a little mark there. Got rid of that. And then I'm just gonna do some lips. This is kind of like a fun, since the eyes are so, in my mind, the eyes are still pretty soft, the face is soft. I'm gonna do a kind of a bright mouth, but still kind of soft and pearly, and this is a Lorac lipstick. It's a matte lipstick, but I'm gonna put some shimmer over it, and it's a bright pink, and it's called Sex Kitten. And so I'm going to go over it. Just basic, you know. Now, of course, if I was doing this on another person, I'd be doing it with a lip brush, sanitizing the lip brush after I would apply it. And, you know, but I'm doing this on myself. It's a very soft, it's bright, but it's not like bright, at least as far as I'm concerned. So there's that. Then I have, this is one of my favorites. It's NYX, and it is NYX NYX, just called Pink Frost. I always used to call this Preppy Pink Frost. It's just a nice, you can do this by itself. My lips, if I just put something this pale on my lips, I look like I haven't done anything. I look like I'm dead. So I always put a little a darker on, no matter what shade. It's sort of like a base, so that this Lorac and Sex Kitten is almost like my lip base. And I go, alright. And this is a nice spring look. But I have some friends. Oh, there goes the train. I have some friends that they'll do the just this Sex Kitten by itself and a little mascara and a little blush, and they're good to go. And also, one thing I like about these NYX Mega Shine lip gloss is they have a nice flavor. So putting that on. And then I'm going to top it off, just for fun, just for a little extra soft gloss, I love Victoria's Secret. Victoria's Secret Bath & Body, in case you don't know, Victoria's Secret Bath Body Works, what else is there? New York & Co., Lane Bryant, Limited 2, all those are all under the same corporate umbrella. And because of that, you get a lot of the same similarities, like the lip gloss at the Bath & Body Works is very similar to Victoria's Secret. But I happen to be in Victoria's Secret, and I had a certain amount, and it was like, well, if you get if you spend $20 more, you get the tote bag and you get some other free gifts. So you know me, I love free gifts. So I was standing in line and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna grab a bunch of lip glosses. So I love the lip glosses. I have their lip glosses all around my apartment. I've said it before. I have one in the bathroom. I have one in the kitchen drawer. I have it in the other bathroom. I always have one in my purse. So this one I love because it has a pinkish. It's a pale beige and it has a pinkish kind of glitter base to it, and it has a little bit of color, a very soft kind of a thing. So I'm just going to put that on top. And now I am ready for spring. So I've rehashed the New York Housewives as well as Little Women LA, and talked about my husband's acting, and he does it part-time, but we're always glad when we get something that's a paid gig. It's still not secure enough, because even actors, when they're getting paid $6 million a year, that project only lasts 4 months, and granted they can live it off the other, but still you're always if your lifestyle matches your income, then you need another gig. So it's never a 30-year career with benefits and the whole 9 yards. You're still going from job to job to job, and that's why actors will do commercials, and they'll do TV, then film, then back to TV, and if that show gets canceled, then they're out of a job, they have to get a new job. So he still has his day job, which we're very proud of and glad that things are going well with. And so, but it's really cool when he gets gigs and has some things coming up. So keep your eye out for Dark Awakenings 2, which will be out next year, but catch up on Dark Awakening. It's just called Dark Awakening. The first one, but it's just Dark Awakening. It would be, I would call Dark Awakening 1, but it's not. It's just Dark Awakenings. And Dirt Old Superstition, and he's the character of Chad. So anyway, I hope you all have a good weekend and a good rest of the week. And I hope that some of the advice, whether it's makeup or relationship or pop culture or whatever subject we talk about, has been helpful. And don't hesitate to not to comment. I appreciate all the following and all the likes and all the shares and all the retweets. I'm really grateful for it, and I'm very, very happy to be able to reach out and communicate with you in this way. So take care. Bye for now. Thanks.